A little while ago, we checked out the Mercedes EQS and frankly, it was terrible. Good thing though, we have the EQE today and it is much improved. Let's check out the little brother. Starting with the looks. Now, it does still have the bean or a shoe appearance of the EQS, but the proportions overall are much better. And I like how they have these lines along the hood, the little duckbill spoiler at the back, and overall, I think it just looks a lot better. Compared to the normal E-Class, yeah, this is not the better looking one. Around the side, we've got these 19-inch AMG rims that are wrapped in winter tires for some reason. If you're wondering, I have not been thrashing this, but there is still rubber all up this side. Do not use winter tires when it's 30 degrees out. The more you know. Above that, we've got our windshield washer reservoir because Mercedes will not let you open the hood once again. There are two little releases if you want to, but guys, please just give us a normal latch. The drag coefficient of this thing is only 0.22, which is definitely helped by these door handles that pop out so you get them, but they don't always pop out for me. Oh, they did right there. But I have consistently had to go and unlock it using the key fob, like a filthy animal. Around back, a light bar that goes all the way across and I think looks pretty good, and a rear view camera that's hidden behind the Mercedes logo. It's also how you open up the trunk. Works quite well. In the trunk, there isn't a whole load of space for a car of this size. Like, LTT backpack takes up heaps of space in here. Fortunately, we do have a tiny little compartment for your first aid kit, tire repair kit, and of course, an LTT water bottle, lttstore.com. Up here, we've got our power close and lock, and also releases for both of the rear seats, which is very nice to have. They won't come back up though. For charging, we get to up to 170 kilowatts DC, although you won't be needing to charge as much as you might expect. Now, Mercedes says this right here with its 90 kilowatt hour battery is good for 418 kilometers of range, but strangely, I've been getting more like 500. Most of the time they overdo the range, but it's very strange that they've massively underdone it for this one, it seems. Hopping into the back seat, we've got sort of enough space if my head's in the sunroof area. Otherwise, I'm smacking it right there. That said, leg room there is plenty of, and these are very, very comfortable seats. Also have a nice little rear climate display and heating for the rear passengers. We've also got two 100-watt USB Type-C chargers, which are an optional extra, and a little armrest that has one of these confusing, haha, there are the cup holders. Hopping into the driver's seat, this is a very comfortable spot to be. We've got heaps of adjustments like adjustable bolsters, pneumatic lumbar, massaging functions, and of course, it's all an optional extra. Everything in here, just, you really need to kit this thing out in order for it to be worth it. This thing's like 40 grand above starting. That said though, everything in here is exceptionally well built. Like, the squishiness of the cushions here on both of the armrests, oh man, it is a relief after the Polestar. There are some kind of chintzy bit, like these capacitive touch buttons right here, move around a bit more than I'd like. Same with the ones over for the heating and cooling of the driver's seat. But overall, it is pretty good. That said, Mercedes still doesn't have the ease of use for some of this stuff that I might expect. Like the seat controls, they're all right over here, minus a lot of the other seat controls that you want to have. So you have to go in here, menu, comfort, seat, and now you can adjust like the lumbar support or the side bolsters or the heating settings, which strangely, I cannot find a button for the steering wheel heat. So we can do the additional steering wheel heat, and that means that when I turn on the seat heating, the steering wheel heat turns on, but because I am a very clammy boy, I do not like that. And I don't know, there's no button down here, there's nothing like that. Oh, wait, I have an idea. Okay, watch this. Seat heat's on, steering wheel heat's off. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
Turn on the steering wheel heat.
Okay, I'm switching on the steering wheel heating.
How do I know it? I can't believe there's no button for this. Anyway. Let's get a couple more complaints out of the way while we're here. First of all, piano black. It looks terrible. This right here, for the most part in the interior, looks very nice, but no matter what you do, you have to have piano black in the middle, and it looks frickin' disgusting all the time. That said, we have a nice little bit of storage here, nice little spot for your cups there, wireless charger that's very hard to get to, and wireless Android Auto. Also on the steering wheel, we have more crap tier capacitive buttons that they work fine enough. It's pretty good, but at the same time, what Mercedes had previously is just straight up better. Like, guys, please just bring back the little roller, the couple of other things. There's also no like next track button on here, which is kind of disappointing given there's so many other controls. It's just strange and poorly thought out. As for the infotainment, it is fine. There's a lot of stuff on here that just isn't scaled quite properly. Like, you can tell that they know what the proper scale is because you go to like home, you have these nice, beautiful icons. Drag down, again, nice, great big icons. But then some of the stuff that you use constantly is not as easy. Like next track, previous track, they're just a little bit too small for my hands. Like, it's fine to hit when we're just sitting here, but when you're going down the road, bouncing around and stuff, it's just too small. Same with the Android Auto icon. Why is it so small, guys? A lot of the time, it's just like a nice big old button or something like that, and it's just so weird that it's so small. Mercedes does get points for including Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Both are wireless, fantastic, but it isn't
something went
Shut
wrong.
up! Something's always wrong, hey Mercedes. I do have to commend Mercedes for at least just keeping Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, unlike GM and some others. But that said, it isn't as well integrated as I would like in some areas. Like, we have this display up here and it has a beautiful map mode, especially like the heads-up display when you're using the Mercedes version of their navigation is absolutely exceptional. Now, their route guidance just simply is not as good as what Google has. So the problem is you have to decide, do you want a really nice heads-up display experience, or do you want to actually arrive there on time? I do feel like I've done a lot of nitpicking in here, but I do have to say they have done just such a good job with so much of it. Like, this is the best interior lighting that I have seen in a car. The way that they have these little vents, it doesn't feel the greatest, but they look really, really good. RGB vents, guys. And of course, before we set off, I just want to say, Mercedes, thank you so much for this area down here. This right here is the absolute burrito holder 5000. They even have a strap, not going anywhere. Unlike me, because I'm going to this segue to our sponsor. Shut up, Mercedes!
Big thanks to Supermicro for sponsoring this video. Discover incredible performance and efficiency with Supermicro's H13 generation servers. Behind the magic are AMD's EPYC 9004 series processors, which feature up to a stunning 128 cores each, which is the highest core count on a single x86 processor. AMD's 3D V-Cache technology also offers blisteringly fast performance, making even the most memory-intensive tasks feel trivial. Visit the link in the description for more information on Supermicro's AMD-powered servers today.
All right, let's take her for a drive. Now, this thing is 5 meters long and basically a big old boat, but it doesn't handle like it, in a parking lot at least. We have rear wheel steering and a 360 camera, so this is actually a very simple car to fit into even pretty small parking spots. Had no trouble there. All right, let's do a little launchy launch here. This thing has 402 horsepower and over 600 foot-pounds of torque, which gives us a 0 to 60 of 4.7 seconds, which for that amount of power seems pretty darn long. And that's because this thing is 5,200 pounds. That said though, we have a lot of mass damping and very soft suspension. So this is an exceptionally comfortable car. How do I know? Well, the road we're on right now is banned for A-roll because the camera right there is just unusable in most cars while we're driving over a road that is this bumpy. That said, in the EQE, this right here is just absorbing the bumps. We're just drifting right down it, no problems at all. It is quiet, it is very comfortable. Oh, there's the road where we normally start our A-roll. Now, once you get over about 100, 120, the softness of the suspension can become a problem. There, if you have like some big, more rolly bumps, because it's so soft, if you're in the rebound of the shocks, when you hit the next bump, you can get just freaking launched straight into the air, whereas a stiffer car, you just kind of be going over it. One more small issue with the highway driving is that this does have a little bit more road noise than I was expecting once you are going at highway speeds. I don't know if that's an issue caused mostly because we have winter tires on this still, but it doesn't have the quietness that stuff like the G80 or the Cadillac Lyriq have that have that active noise suppression that's going to get rid of those hums and stuff. Another thing though that makes this an exceptional cruiser for lower speeds is that we have ourselves a proper sunroof up here. Heck freaking yes. This right here would be the best car for driving down like an ocean road if it were not for one thing. Had to pull over because that was kind of loud. Sunroof open, windows down. This is such a great car for just comfortably cruising around town. And it's kind of ruined by this right here. We've got this super nice Alcantara, suede-y sort of stuff. But if you look, the window just, it's up by like, what, ½ inch, something like that? It means you can't have your arm out the window and just relax like this. All right, we've got some corners. Let's torture these poor winter tires. Here we go, chucking it in. Heaps of body roll, but that said, the whole thing does feel very controlled and very composed, especially for how much mass this thing has. That said, I do have some trouble properly balancing the car because the accelerator pedal has quite a bit of smoothing on it. So if you want to like get into the gas, get off the gas, there's a lot more delay than I would like to see in an electric car. It's a bit of a problem because, well, just kind of generally driving it, I find difficult to do very smoothly. I really wish they just gave us the option of having like a chill and a not chill mode for the accelerator, like Volvo and Tesla and lots of other makers. That said, if you're interested in not driving as much, this is a pretty good car to do that in. The lane centering is excellent, some of the best that I've ever seen. The adaptive cruise is pretty good, even if it is a little bit jerky at times, especially if the person in front of you is not fantastic at driving. I've left it on, which is more than I can say about the vast majority of cars that I've had, and my only real complaint is that it gets super mad at you to have your hands on the wheel, even when you already have your hands on the wheel. Now, probably our largest complaint about the EQS was the feel of the brakes, and it was just god-awful. And here they have done an excellent improvement in the sort of sense that licking a 9-volt battery is better than licking a car battery. It's still terrible. Now we're on flat ground right now, so the stopping's going to be fine enough. But I found that when I'm on any sort of an incline, it grabs the brakes when you go to stop and it can just be like, eh. It's honestly crazy that Mercedes wants to go all electric by 2030 when they can't even figure out how to make the brake and the gas work correctly in one. Guys, please fix that. Seriously. What doesn't need fixing though is the sound system. Play Crab Rave on Tidal. In here we've got the sound system from Burmester, and this thing sounds so freaking good. They've got the tweeters up pointed at the windows, which bounce off of them, and you just get this insane surround sound experience that is unlike a lot of cars that we had. Now, it doesn't have the low end extension. It starts rolling off around about 40 hertz, but it does sound darn good. Yeah, see there, it didn't like fully trail out like it does in the Volvo or, you know, my Golf. Properly measuring the system was a little bit difficult because whatever they're doing for the 3D surround does some phase changes, which does also show up in the frequency response. So we turned it in their pure setting, which sounds like trash, but I just like leaving it as it is from the factory, and she sounds darn good. So the Mercedes EQE. This one that we have right here was $120,000 Canadian, and I think this right here is a really good spec for the car, but that's a lot of freaking money. Now this does feel a lot more grounded as a car than the EQS did. It's just as comfortable. It has really all of the good things of that, but it just feels better to drive in. So it sort of completely eliminates the EQS from you wanting to have it. That said though, there are a lot of other cars that are quite a bit less money that I think are just as good in many ways. If you're in the market for a car like this, I would strongly recommend looking into the G80 EV before pulling the trigger on this. It's the one that I personally like more, but if you want more of like the really fancy RGB, the EQE, you could do worse. So guys, if you like this video, hit like, get subscribed, and I promise we are going to have some cheaper EVs soon. Very, very soon. It's
How may I help?
Oh my God, Mercedes, shut the f up.
I may not be perfect, but I'm getting better every day.
I'll believe it when I see it.